Hey Primatech peeps, welcome to the special Minisode episode of the Primatech Files, brought to you in association with TVBinges.com. This is a special Bridging of the Gap episode for the Heroes Binge, which is going on right now. We're talking about episode 2, Company Man, and what you need to know about episode 3, 5 Years Gone. I'm one of your hosts, Ricky, and with me is staff writer at TVBinges.com, Olivia. Welcome, Olivia.
Hey!
So, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions first before we get into the meat of this really short podcast. What do you think about the superpowered kind of genre of television?
It's weird because I kind of just started getting into it this year, especially now that I think that's kind of been the big trend with TV this year with all the Marvel shows that have come out, especially like Agent Carter and like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I think it's just a really, really good time to be discussing this genre and to have like more exposure to it.
Okay, cool. So, have you watched Heroes before?
No, I haven't. I literally have watched my very first 2 episodes as of this morning.
And they are 2 completely, vastly different episodes.
Oh, yeah, it's hard with this one because I always end with it to be continued.
Yes.
So I'm like, I watched the first episode and then I jumped all the way to episode 17 and I need to like fill in what's happened anywhere between, the 16 episodes that I over.
What did you think of episode 2 in the Heroes Binge, Company Man?
I loved it. That's the thing, because I was watching, obviously, the first episode, and I loved Claire's character, and I think that this is really a good series in terms of, like, getting to know who each character is in the same way that, like, Lost does the thing where they kind of focus in and, like, really let you get to know who each person is.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed getting to watch Claire kind of develop, like, completely out of context, because I, like, literally have no idea what's happening.
Exactly, yeah.
But no, I really wanted to know more about her as a character, and I wanted to know more about, like, how these people are getting their powers, and this was a really good, like, backstory and kind of background into what the show's actually about.
Definitely. The thing is, you're mentioning Claire quite a bit, but this actually isn't a Claire episode, really. It's more of a, what they call HRG episode. The guy with the horn rim glasses, her father, whose name we won't know for another kind of 5 episodes, so everyone will call him HRG. It was more his episode. So what did you think about him as a character?
I thought he was really interesting because I feel like they could have made him a villain, and like he made some really awful decisions, and he was involved in things that were super shady.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I think they kind of gave him more of like a substance, and that like it's not as simple as saying oh, he's just a bad guy and he did all these things like without caring about who he was hurting, because I think that could have been the case at first, because obviously they showed him like 15 years prior when they kind of just handed him this child and they're like, okay, you're just going to be the surrogate father and then just give us back her when she's ready. But then you see like he develops that fatherly compassion, and I thought that was like really intriguing to watch.
Yeah, it's funny because throughout the whole series, well, the kind of episodes before, you kind of don't really know which side he's on and what kind of side he's playing. He's just that kind of morally grey character. He seems to have some good in him, but then he's always doing these kind of shady kind of dealings, which kind of come back to haunt him in this episode with Matt and Ted. So I'm going to bring you up to speed for what you kind of need to know for episode 3 in the Heroes Binge, which is 5 Years Gone. You obviously know Hero from the premiere episode. In a couple of episodes afterwards, a future version of him comes back who is pretty badass, speaks perfect English, and he comes back and he delivers the line, "Save the cheerleader, save the world," which is the whole kind of premise of the first season. And 5 Years Gone is obviously present-day Hero, accidentally goes into the future 5 years from now, and ends up in this kind of post-apocalyptic world where she wasn't saved and things go to doo-doo, basically. So yeah.
Excited.
The next episode is basically just him meeting future versions of the kind of heroes, and they all are kind of move from one faction to another, and it's very intriguing, and it seems like it's a good episode where they were kind of experimenting with things to see how people responded to how the characters have changed. So, having watched your first 2 episodes, that being the pilot and Company Man, do you think you'd go back and watch the rest of them, or do you think you'll just wait for Heroes Reborn, which is coming out?
I actually really want to watch the series now. I'm like kind of surprised because again, like I do like the genre, but I wouldn't say I'm like a diehard fan of it. Yeah. But I love that this series, they kind of do that like to be continued thing, and just like that first episode, like the way that they ended it, like
yes,
you have to keep watching, like you can't just not watch. Like they kind of take you in a direction that I never would have thought with. You have the character Peter, I think, who was like convinced that he could fly, and it turns out it's his political kind of cold, like off-putting brother who's the one who actually has the power, and that took me completely off guard. So
Yeah.
I think I have to.
You got a couple of weeks to binge watch your way through 78 episodes.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so thank you all for listening. Hope you enjoyed this recap. You can find me at Primatech Files. Everything you need to know about me and the podcast is on there on Twitter. Olivia, you got any plugs?
I guess just check out every Monday. I have a weekly piece so you can check out the new shows that you should be watching, especially coming up in the fall when we have a bunch of new premieres coming up. So just keep your eyes peeled.
And also check out her other podcast that she co-hosts with Kyle, the Pilot Roundtable, where they go through all the pilots. And I will see you on the Heroes Reborn one. Watch the Heroes Binge, save the world.